I know you don't believe me, but the winter time is a perfect time to grow your garden and get ahead of planting your veggie seeds before the spring, even if you have all this snow in your backyard. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to start your veggie garden during the winter months using all this snow and this simple soda bottle. So let's get to it. To start this whole process, you're going to need a couple of supplies like this small little tote or container to mix your potting soil. You can use soda bottles like this or a milk jug, anything that you can see through. Of course, your seeds, potting mix, your gardening tools, scissors, and some gloves. It's important to use potting mix and not garden soil. Garden soil or topsoil is way too thick. Once you add in the soil, you want to put in a little bit of water just to make it nice and damp. I find that potting soil doesn't always give enough nutrients, so I sometimes use Dr. Earth. It is organic fertilizer, and it's great to add a little bit of nutrients in the soil. This soil is going to be going in this soda bottle, and you can see that I made it into a hinge. You don't want to cut all the way. You want to make sure that you have this hinge action there. I would recommend filling it with soil at least 5 inches deep. You don't want to go stingy because these are your seedlings. And that is the reason why we cut a little further on the top, so that hinge will be on the top instead of the middle. You don't want to cut right here. You want to keep it higher so you can fill it up with at least 6 inches potting mix. What I like to use is 2 picks, and I just bore a hole, not too deep though. You want to make sure that you never go too deep. We're going to take our kale seeds, and what I like to do is I like to put in my hand to see what we're working with. And you can see the kale seeds right there. They're very, very tiny. And what I do is I like to use most of them. You could just sprinkle it around like that. Now, the ones that are not covered, what I like to do is that I like to, again, take the toothpick and I just like to move it around and make sure it is in the dirt and everything is covered. And I would put more than less because you don't know how much is going to germinate. Now, time for my favorite part. We want to make sure it's nice and wet and moist. And the next step you'll need is some duct tape or some type of really hardy sticky tape. Now I've already put some water in here and I already hydrated. The kale seeds are in here. So the next process is just to seal it up. And you want to make sure you get a really good seal. Voila. And guys, don't forget to label it with not only what seeds in here, but also the date. 2/12/2025 kale. You can also winter sow, and lots of people do it with just an empty milk carton like you see. So you can see that I already started the process and I already started cutting. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to continue to cut this milk carton. And remember, not all the way. You don't want to use garden soil, mostly a good potting mix. And you want to get this as full as possible, at least 6 inches. So we're going to do a little bit more mixing, and I did pour some water into this potting soil that I have here. And what I'm going to do is put the milk carton in to this bigger container so it's less messy. So we're going to again fill the container up. Really need to fill it up to at least 5 inches. Give the roots some breathing room to expand. You don't want those roots cramped in because they will be in here for at least 3 months. I'm going to make sure I add a little bit of fertilizer, Dr. Earth, to this. And I'm going to mix it up. This is a packet that I had from last season, so I don't want it to go to waste. So we're just going to sprinkle some of the seeds in. Oh, wow, this is a lot. Yes, you know, the more the better. And I'm just going to lightly cover it up. It says cover 1/8. So that means just a very, very thin layer to cover. You want to make sure you don't bury these seeds. We're going to make sure this is nice and moist. still see that there are some seeds at the top, what I'm going to do is just take a little bit of the medium and just sprinkle on top. And the same as before, just make sure you have drainage holes. We have drainage holes are on the bottom. And make sure you seal it nice and tight. You want to make sure there's no air pockets or no cold air that can go inside. So what is winter sowing anyway, and why should you do it? Well, in the simplest terms, it's a low maintenance way to start your seeds outdoors in the cold months using a somewhat mini greenhouse that's made out of plastic containers like milk jugs or soda bottles. And instead of waiting for the spring, people like us who live in these colder climates can start our veggie garden earlier. From my research, winter sowing involves what's called cold stratification. I know that's like a very long, intense word, but basically what it means is that some seeds need a period of cold before they can sprout. So by exposing them to the cold naturally outdoors, you're tricking them into thinking winter has passed. Once they feel the warmth again, they know it's time to grow. This simple process helps seeds germinate faster and stronger, giving gardens like myself that live in cold climates a head start to grow veggies. You want to put the milk jugs in an area where it's getting mostly sun. You don't want to put it in too much shade because you want the sun to actually work to germinate and warm up these jugs to act as greenhouses. You won't get the seeds sprouting until spring. And the whole point of winter sowing is to leave the jugs outside. That's right, just leave it outside. Let nature do its course. Even if it's raining or snowing, leave it outside. Now, if it's raining, you may want to put a cap on the milk jugs just to make sure that the seeds inside don't get waterlogged. So I would keep the milk jugs or soda bottle caps. And real fun fact, I didn't know, but snow acts as an insulation. It acts like a warm, cozy blanket around plants or other trees and even the milk jugs that you planted outside to start your winter sowing. Winter sowing works best with seeds that naturally require a period of cold to break dormancy. Sometimes people in warmer climates, they would put the seeds in their refrigerator or a basement that is unheated. That's their way of winter sowing. Here in the Northeast, we put our seeds right outside in the snow. So guys, I'm really excited to check in the next couple of months to see if this really worked. Normally, I start my seeds indoors and I put it on a windowsill and then I transfer it into my raised bed. But I really wanted this time to do something different. Winter sow, why not, right? I have all this snow in my backyard. I might as well put it to good use. For those of you lucky enough to live in those warmer climates and don't have to deal with all this snow, you can start your veggie garden indoors. I happen to have made a video on a step-by-step instruction that I got seeds from Dollar Tree, showing you how to sow your Dollar Tree seeds from start to finish. So you're going to want to check out that video. Keep on watching.